Emily Johnson had always been the kind of woman who turned heads, not just for her striking beauty-deep brown skin glowing under the harsh fluorescent lights of New York's bustling streets. Her curly hair often tied back in a practical bun. For the quiet fire in her eyes that spoke of resilience forged in the fires of Harlem's unyielding grit. At 28, she was managing her Aunt Clara's small food delivery startup, a scrappy operation that navigated the chaotic traffic of Manhattan with a fleet of bikes and a team of determined riders. Many of them immigrants chasing their American dreams. Emily's days were a whirlwind of coordinating orders, haggling with suppliers over late payments, and ensuring that hot meals reached hungry customers in the high-rises of the Upper East Side or the brownstones of Brooklyn. It was exhausting work, but it kept her grounded, a far cry from the lofty ideals her late father had instilled in her. He had been a civil rights activist in the 1960s, marching alongside icons in Selma and later building a modest fortune through community investments, leaving Emily a substantial inheritance of $500,000. When he passed away unexpectedly from a heart attack 2 years prior, that money sat in a trust, a safety net she rarely touched, preferring to earn her way in a world that often stacked the odds against women like her. It was on a crisp autumn afternoon in a cozy Brooklyn coffee shop, the kind with exposed brick walls and the aroma of freshly ground beans mingling with the faint scent of rain-soaked sidewalks outside, that Emily first crossed paths with Ryan Whitaker. He was 29, a lanky guy with tousled blonde hair and piercing blue eyes, hailing from a small town in the Midwest where cornfields stretched endlessly and opportunities felt as distant as the stars. Ryan was hunched over a battered laptop, scribbling notes in a worn-out journal, his face etched with the frustration of someone chasing an elusive dream. He had moved to New York 6 months earlier, armed with nothing but a computer science degree from a state university and an idea for a mobile gaming app called GameHub, a platform that would connect players across the globe in real-time multiplayer challenges, fostering communities around shared interests. But funding was scarce. Investors in the city were wary of yet another tech bro with big ideas but no prototype to show. Emily, waiting for her latte at the counter, overheard him muttering to himself about bridging divides through play, and something in his passion sparked her curiosity. She struck up a conversation, casual at first, about how games could indeed bring people together, drawing from her own experiences playing online with friends from diverse backgrounds. During lonely nights in her tiny apartment, Ryan was charmed instantly. He listened intently as Emily shared stories of her father's activism, how he had fought for equality in a segregated America, and how that legacy shaped her view of technology as a tool for inclusion rather than exclusion. Ryan nodded enthusiastically, his eyes lighting up. "That's exactly what GameHub is about," he said, leaning forward. "Imagine an app where kids from Harlem can team up with players from rural Iowa, breaking down those invisible walls. But to make it happen, I need someone who believes in it as much as I do." There was a sincerity in his voice that disarmed Emily, a rarity in the cutthroat dating scene of the city. They exchanged numbers, and what started as coffee meets evolved into late-night walks along the East River, where Ryan would sketch wireframes on napkins and Emily would offer practical advice on user engagement. Drawing from her startup experience, he never pressured her for money. Instead, he shared his vulnerabilities growing up in a conservative family that viewed urban life with suspicion, his awakening to social issues through college readings on racial injustice. Emily felt seen, valued for her mind as much as her heart. For the first time in years, since a string of disappointing relationships with men who either fetishized her race or dismissed her ambitions, she allowed herself to fall. When Emily's father passed, leaving her the inheritance, Ryan was there, holding her through the grief, whispering promises of a future where they could honor his memory by building something meaningful. It was then that she decided to invest half of it, $250,000, into GameHub. "This isn't just funding," Ryan said, clasping her hands tightly, his voice thick with emotion. "You're investing in us, in a world where people like your dad dreamed of equality. Together, we'll make it real." 8 months later, they married in a simple ceremony in Central Park. The cherry blossoms in full bloom overhead, surrounded by a mix of Emily's extended family from Harlem and Ryan's more reserved relatives from the Midwest. Aunt Clara gave a toast, warning lightly about the challenges of interracial marriage in America. But Emily brushed it off, buoyed by love. The wedding photos captured their joy. Emily in a flowing white gown that contrasted beautifully with her skin, Ryan beaming in a tailored suit, but even then, subtle cracks appeared. Ryan's college buddies, all white guys in khakis, made offhand jokes about diversity hires in tech. And Ryan laughed along, not defending her when one whispered, "Lucky you, bro, marrying into that kind of story will open doors." GameHub launched quietly at first. A beta version tested among Emily's network of friends and Aunt Clara's delivery riders, who spread the word through word of mouth in diverse communities. Emily threw herself into it, designing inclusive avatars that represented various ethnicities, suggesting features like voice chat with real-time translation to bridge language barriers. She handled the back-end logistics, from securing server space to crafting pitch emails for investors, while Ryan focused on the code. Their tiny apartment in Queens became a makeshift office, cluttered with takeout boxes and whiteboards scrawled with ideas. Success came gradually. A tech blog in San Francisco featured the app for its innovative approach to social gaming, highlighting how it appealed to underrepresented gamers. Then, a viral TikTok review from a Black influencer in Atlanta catapulted downloads. Investors took notice, especially those with funds earmarked for diversity initiatives post-Black Lives Matter movement. Ryan pitched GameHub as a beacon of inclusion, often citing his marriage to Emily as proof of his commitment. "My wife grew up in Harlem," he'd say in meetings, "and she's shown me how tech can empower marginalized voices." Emily smiled through these narratives, proud but uneasy at being reduced to a prop. The money poured in a seed round of $2 million, followed by partnerships with major platforms. They upgraded to a sleek loft in Brooklyn. Then, as GameHub hit 1 million users, relocated to Silicon Valley, the heart of tech innovation. Palo Alto welcomed them with open arms, a spacious house in a gated community, complete with a home office, overlooking manicured lawns. Ryan's wardrobe transformed crisp button-downs and designer sneakers while Emily adapted to the Valley's culture, attending networking events where she was often the only Black woman in the room. Whispers followed her. Is she the diversity consultant, or Ryan smart to marry strategically? Ryan dismissed her concerns as paranoia. "Babe, it's just how things are here. We're breaking barriers together." But as the app grew, incorporating augmented reality features and esports tournaments, Ryan's attitude shifted. He began excluding her from key decisions, claiming she didn't understand the Valley vibe. Late nights at the office turned into business dinners with venture capitalists. And Emily noticed the scent of unfamiliar perfume on his shirts, the way his phone buzzed incessantly with messages he hid. The first overt sign of trouble came during a company retreat in Napa Valley, where team-building exercises revealed underlying tensions. Ryan's new hires were predominantly white males from Ivy League schools. And when Emily suggested diversifying the staff, he rolled his eyes. "We need the best, not quotas." That night, in their hotel room, he snapped at her for questioning a budget allocation, his face reddening. "You invested because you believed in me. Now trust me to lead." Emily swallowed her hurt, reminding herself of their early days, but the divide widened. Social media amplified it. Ryan's Instagram posts showed him at exclusive events, captioning, Photos with hashtags like #TechForAll, while Emily's contributions went unmentioned. Friends back in New York warned her and Clara, especially, calling during one of her rare visits. "That boy sees you as a stepping stone, child. White men in power often do. Remember your father's stories about allies who turned when convenient." Emily defended Ryan, citing his support during her grief, but doubt crept in like fog over the bay. By Ryan's 30th birthday, GameHub was a sensation, valued at $50 million, with users spanning continents. The party was extravagant, held at their Palo Alto home, transformed into a glittering venue with string lights, a live DJ spinning hip-hop, remixes, and catering from a trendy fusion restaurant blending soul food with California cuisine. Guests included Silicon Valley elites, venture capitalists, and casual hoodies hiding their wealth, tech influencers snapping selfies, and Ryan's old Midwest friends mingling awkwardly with Emily's Harlem crew, who had flown in. Emily moved through the crowd in an elegant red dress that hugged her curves, balancing trays of hors d'oeuvres with the grace of someone used to service. She tried to ignore the sidelong glances, the way some guests addressed her as if she were staff rather than the hostess. Ryan, already tipsy on expensive whiskey, held court by the pool, regaling everyone with tales of GameHub's rise. "It all started with a dream," he boasted, "and a little help from my incredible wife who knew her Harlem hustle would pay off." The incident happened midway through the evening. Emily was crossing the living room, carrying a tray of champagne flutes, when her heel caught on the edge of a Persian rug. She stumbled, arms flailing to regain balance, but before she could, Ryan extended his foot, subtle, deliberate, tripping her fully. She crashed to the hardwood floor, glasses shattering around her, the sharp pain in her knee mingling with the humiliation burning her cheeks. Gasps rippled through the room, conversations halting as eyes turned. Ryan stood over her, chuckling. "Whoops, she's always so clumsy, must be that inner-city coordination." Laughter erupted from his white colleagues, one quipping, "Yeah, not." Everyone adapts to valley life. Emily lay there for a moment, dress twisted, palms scraped, the metallic taste of blood from biting her lip. No one offered a hand. Instead, phones emerged, capturing the moment discreetly. Ryan sipped his drink, unfazed. "See what I deal with? But hey, diversity keeps things exciting." Emily rose slowly, brushing off shards of glass, her face a mask of composure. She didn't cry, not in front of them, not when the new receptionist from the office, a perky blonde who lingered too long near Ryan, smirked knowingly. Excusing herself to the bathroom, Emily locked the door and stared at her reflection, the bruise forming on her side a stark reminder. How had it come to this? Ryan, the man who once vowed to fight injustice beside her, now embodies the very privilege he claimed to dismantle. Flashes of their journey replayed. The excitement of the first investor meeting, where Ryan credited her ideas. The joy of their honeymoon in Hawaii, where they dreamed of a family. But intertwined were the microaggressions, the time he suggested she straighten her hair for a pitch, or dismissed her input as to urban. Success had amplified his entitlement, turning gratitude into resentment. He had used her inheritance, her story, to access grants for minority-led startups, positioning himself as the white savior in a narrative that erased her agency. That night, after the guests departed and the house echoed with silence, Emily didn't sleep. She sat on the cold marble floor of the master bathroom, knees drawn to her chest, the ache in her body paling against the fracture in her soul. She thought of her father's letters, tucked away in a box, warning of alliances built on convenience. "Daughter," he had written, "the system rewards those who look like them. Don't let love blind you to power dynamics." Ryan had climbed using her ladder, and now he kicked it away. But Emily wasn't broken. She was awakening. Slipping into the home office, she pulled out the filing cabinet, rifling through documents under the dim glow of a desk lamp. There it was, the incorporation papers for GameHub, registered under her name to qualify for diversity funding. The house deed, purchased with her inheritance trust, bank statements showing her as the primary account holder. Ryan had insisted on joint access for convenience, but she had retained control, a precaution Aunt Clara had drilled into her. A small smile tugged at her lips, not of vengeance, but resolve. He didn't know the woman he married as well as he thought. Come morning, Emily would begin reclaiming what was hers. Piece by legal piece, exposing the rot of ingratitude and racism festering beneath their fairy tale. As dawn broke over the rolling hills of Silicon Valley, Emily brewed coffee in the kitchen, her mind racing with plans. Ryan emerged, hungover and oblivious, grabbing a mug without a word. "Great party last night," he mumbled, scrolling his phone. Emily nodded, her voice steady. Unforgettable. He didn't notice the steel in her tone, too absorbed in emails from investors praising his vision. While he showered, she made the first call to her lawyer, a sharp-minded black woman in Oakland who specialized in tech disputes. "I need to review my assets," Emily said quietly, "and prepare for separation." The lawyer's response was immediate. "From what you've told me before, you're in a strong position. Let's audit everything." Hanging up, Emily felt a surge of empowerment, the weight of years lifting slightly. She spent the day at Aunt Clara's old startup office in New York via video call, reconnecting with contacts who could help discreetly. By evening, she had frozen minor accounts, ensuring Ryan's access was limited without alerting him yet. The following weeks unfolded like a chess game, Emily moving pawns while Ryan remained king in his delusion. He hosted a product launch for GameHub's new VR integration, inviting media to their home. Emily played the dutiful wife, smiling for photos, but noted how reporters focused on Ryan, barely acknowledging her role. During the event, a journalist asked about diversity, and Ryan quipped, "My marriage is proof we're committed." Emily's stomach churned, but she held her tongue. Later, alone in the study, she uncovered emails Ryan soliciting funds by exaggerating her involvement, claiming GameHub as his brainchild, inspired by urban culture. It stung, a betrayal layered with racial undertones, reducing her heritage to a marketing gimmick. Aunt Clara visited that weekend, bringing soul food from Harlem and tough love. "This ain't new, baby. White folks have been profiting off our Tate. My only lipstick have been profiting off our pain forever. But you got the power, now use it." They pored over documents together, Clara pointing out loopholes Ryan had exploited, like using Emily's name on grants meant for black entrepreneurs. Emily's resolve hardened during a tense dinner, with Ryan's family visiting from the Midwest. His mother, a prim woman with pearl earrings, commented on Emily's cooking. "So exotic must be from your background." Ryan chuckled, adding, "Yeah, M brings that flavor." The casual racism veiled his compliments, fueled her fire. That night, as Ryan snored beside her, Emily slipped out to the garage, retrieving hidden files from her father's safe. Among them, proof of initial investments, emails where Ryan admitted relying on her funds. She photographed everything, building a digital fortress. The turning point came at a Valley Gala, where Ryan networked with billionaires, leaving Emily to fend off condescending questions like, "How did you land him?" Overhearing Ryan tell a colleague, marrying diverse was the best business move, she excused herself, heart pounding. In the restroom, mirroring her birthday humiliation, she texted her lawyer, "Proceed with asset freeze." Back home, as Ryan celebrated a new deal, Emily lay awake, plotting the quiet revolution that would upend his world, a testament to the strength her ancestors had passed down. The months following Ryan's birthday party blurred into a haze of calculated normalcy for Emily. A facade she maintained with the precision of a strategist in a high-stakes game where the board was her life and the pieces were the remnants of her shattered trust. GameHub had skyrocketed, its user base swelling to 5 million. With endorsements from esports celebrities and integrations into major streaming platforms like Twitch. Revenue streamed in ads and app purchases, premium subscriptions transforming their Palo Alto home into a symbol of Silicon Valley success, smart appliances humming in the kitchen, abstract art from local galleries adorning the walls, and a garage housing Ryan's new Tesla, a gleaming red status symbol he drove to meetings. With a smug grin, but beneath the gloss, Emily felt the erosion of her role, like sand slipping through her fingers. Ryan had centralized control, appointing himself CEO and relegating her to chief supporter, a title he coined during a board meeting she wasn't invited to. Asterisk focus on the home front, babe, he'd say, patting her hand dismissively. Let me handle the big leagues. Emily bit back retorts, her mind already mapping escape routes, but the daily grind of exclusion wore on her. Morning started with Ryan barking orders over breakfast. Check if the caterers confirmed for the investor lunch, treating her like an unpaid assistant rather than a co-founder. Afternoons, she'd sift through public company filings online, noting how her name appeared on diversity grant applications but vanished from press releases. The outer world amplified the divide. Silicon Valley's social scene was a minefield of subtle slights. At a women in tech brunch hosted by a prominent VC firm, Emily arrived in a tailored pantsuit, hoping to network, only to be mistaken for a server by a group of white women executives. Could you refill the mimosas? One asked, barely glancing up from her phone. Emily corrected her politely, but the laughter that followed stung like salt in a wound. Ryan, when she recounted it later, shrugged. They're just busy. Don't take it personally, it's not about race. But it was, always. His outer circle, a clique of Stanford alumni and angel investors, all white and male, shared inside jokes about affirmative action hires during barbecues at their home, their eyes sliding past Emily as if she were decor. Ryan never challenged them. Instead, he'd steer conversations to safer topics like golf outings or stock tips, leaving her isolated in her living room. The infidelity crept in gradually. First, as suspicions late nights explained as crunch time for a new update. Texts he deleted with furtive glances, then as evidence. One evening, sorting laundry, Emily found a lipstick stain on his collar, a bold crimson that wasn't hers. Confronting him led to gaslighting. You're imagining things, Em. Paranoia from your background, maybe? Therapy could help. He twisted her heritage into a weapon, implying her urban upbringing bred insecurity. A racist trope disguised as concern, as GameHub's valuation hit $100 million. Ryan's ego inflated like a balloon ready to burst. He splurged on lavish gifts, for himself a Rolex watch, custom golf clubs, while scrutinizing Emily's spending, questioning a $50 book on black entrepreneurship as unnecessary. The affairs became blatant. Whispers from office interns about Ryan's lunch dates with blonde marketing consultants, women who fit the Valley's homogenized ideal of success. Emily hired a discreet private investigator, a black veteran from Oakland recommended by Aunt Clara, who delivered photos of Ryan at upscale San Francisco hotels, arm in arm with these women. One in particular stood out, a venture associate named Lauren, whose LinkedIn boasted Harvard credentials and a family fortune in real estate. The PI's report detailed how Ryan wooed her with tales of his progressive marriage, using Emily's story to virtue signal before discarding it. He's playing the white savior card, the investigator said over coffee in a dimly lit diner. Seen it too many times. Guys like him leverage diversity for clout, then revert to type. Emily nodded, the pieces clicking. Ryan had married her not just for money. Fund, by touting their interracial union. The escalation peaked at GameHub's annual product launch event held in a sprawling convention center in San Jose. Lights pulsing like a heartbeat over booths showcasing the app's latest AR features. Emily had organized much of its venue booking, speaker lineup, even the swag bags filled with branded merch, but Ryan claimed credit in his keynote speech. Striding on stage in a sleek black turtleneck a la Steve Jobs. From humble beginnings to global impact, he proclaimed to thunderous applause, flashing slides of user stats without mentioning her once. Backstage, Emily approached him with a list of post-event tasks, her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. We need to follow up on those leads from the diversity panel. Ryan whirled, eyes flashing. Not now, Em. You're always nagging like. You know better. The argument spilled into the green room, voices rising. When she pressed about a suspicious expense report $10,000 on client entertainment that matched hotel receipts, he snapped, his hand flying out in a sharp slap across her cheek. The sound echoed, a crack in the air, as staff nearby froze. Emily reeled, tasting blood, her hand flying to her stinging skin. Ryan adjusted his tie, glancing around. She raised her voice first. Needs to learn respect in professional settings. A few white colleagues chuckled nervously, one muttering, "Feisty, huh?" while others averted eyes, complicit in silence. Emily didn't crumble. Instead, she excused herself to the restroom, locking a stall and dialing Aunt Clara through tears. "It's time," she whispered. "He's crossed the line." Clara's voice was steel. "Documents everything, child. Bruises fade, but evidence endures." Emily photographed her reddened cheek in the mirror, timestamped it, and emailed it to her lawyer. Susan Reyes, a fierce Latina advocate known for dismantling tech bros in court. Susan responded immediately. "This is assault, combined with financial control. We can build a case for abuse and fraud. Meet tomorrow." That night, back home, Ryan acted as if nothing had happened, collapsing on the couch with a beer, scrolling through Twitter. Emily retreated to the guest room, poring over bank statements on her laptop. What she uncovered chilled her. Ryan had siphoned funds from joint accounts into personal ones, labeling transfers as bonuses while using company credit for his affairs. More damning, emails showed him applying for diversity loans in her name, forging signatures to qualify under minority-owned business clauses. "He's been profiting off my identity," she realized. The betrayal, a gut punch. Not just love, but her. Race exploited for capital in a system rigged to reward white ambition. The next day, Emily met Susan in a sunlit Oakland office overlooking the bay. Files spread like battle plans. Susan, with her no-nonsense bob and stack of precedents, dissected the marriage. "California's community property laws favor you, especially since the inheritance is separate. But the racism angle, we can weave it in for emotional damages." They drafted initial motions, freeze assets, revoke Ryan's company access. Emily felt a spark of agency, but the world outside conspired to test it. Ryan, sensing her distance, ramped up the manipulation love bombing with flowers one day, then cold shoulders the next. "You're acting weird," he'd say. "Is it that time of month or something cultural?" The microaggressions piled up, each a reminder of his ingrained bias. Emily confided in a support group for women of color in tech. Virtual meetings where stories mirrored hers. Husbands using their wives' narratives for day points, then discarding them when inconvenient. One woman shared, "My ex pitched our story. 2 VCs, like a sob tale, got funded, then cheated with a white intern." The solidarity fortified her. Tension boiled over when Ryan discovered a frozen credit card during a shopping spree with Lauren. He stormed home, face flushed. "What the hell, Em? My card declined at Neiman Marcus." Emily stood her ground in the kitchen, arms crossed. "I've protected our assets. "You've been reckless." He laughed bitterly. "Our assets? It's my company." The argument escalated, Ryan hurling insults laced with racism. "Without me, you'd still be delivering food in Harlem." Ungrateful. Emily recorded it discreetly on her phone, evidence for Susan. That night, Ryan retaliated online, posting a tearful video on LinkedIn and Twitter. Building a dream isn't easy, especially when your partner turns against you. I lifted her from nothing, embraced diversity, and this is the thanks. The post went viral, garnering sympathy from tech bros. Classic gold digger story, reverse racism in action. Comments flooded in, many from white users. She used BLM hype to trap him. White men can't win anymore. Emily's inbox was filled with hate mail, slurs invoking stereotypes of angry black women. But the backlash ignited support. 2 hashtags like #stand with Emily trended in black Twitter circles. Activists calling out the pattern of white exploitation. Emily countered strategically, releasing her video, a calm montage of bruises, forged documents, and screenshots of Ryan's emails boasting about leveraging the black wife card for funding. "This isn't about revenge," she narrated. "It's about truth in a system that profits from our pain." The narrative shifted. Media outlets like Wired and The Root picked it up, framing it as a microcosm of tech's racism. Protests erupted small, but vocal gatherings outside GameHub's offices. Signs reading "End White Saviorism in Tech and BLM means business too." Ryan's board panicked, shares dipping amid the scandal. Amid the chaos, Emily received a message from Sarah Thompson, Ryan's ex, from College, a white woman, now a nonprofit director in Seattle. "I saw your video. He did the same to mused my family's connections, then ghosted. Let's talk." They met via Zoom, Sarah sharing stories. Ryan dated her for access to her father's VC network. Dumped her when a better opportunity arose. "He bragged about upgrading to you for the diversity angle," Sarah admitted, shame in her voice. "I enabled it by staying silent." Their alliance formed. Sarah provided old emails proving Ryan's pattern of manipulation, tying it to fraud. The collaboration unearthed more. Ryan had diverted grant money meant for minority programs into personal ventures, like a side hustle in NFTs marketed to white collectors. Emily and Sarah met in person at a neutral cafe in Berkeley, poring over timelines. "This isn't just personal," Sarah said. "It's systemic white men climbing on our backs." Emily nodded, the weight of generations on her shoulders. Protests grew, drawing allies from tech unions and civil rights groups, chanting outside Ryan's favorite haunts. He lawyered up, countersuing for defamation, but Susan shredded it in preliminary hearings. Emily's awakening was complete. From victim to vanguard, she rallied a network of women, Black, white, Latina sharing testimonies online, turning private pain into public reckoning. As the chapter closed on this phase, Emily stood taller, ready for the legal storm ahead. Her story, a beacon exposing the ugly underbelly of America's racial capitalism. The San Francisco courthouse loomed like a fortress of justice under a gray November sky. Its stone facade a silent witness to the unraveling of Ryan Whitaker's empire and the rise of Emily Johnson's unyielding resolve. Inside, the air buzzed with anticipation, reporters scribbling furiously, activists whispering strategies, and curious onlookers craning for a glimpse of the drama that had captivated national headlines. Emily sat in the front row, her navy blazer crisp against a cream blouse, her hair pulled into a sleek bun that accentuated the calm determination in her eyes. Beside her, Susan Reyes, her lawyer, radiated confidence, her tablet glowing with meticulously organized evidence, bank records, forged signatures, witness statements, and damning recordings. Across the aisle, Ryan slumped in his seat, his once pristine suit now slightly wrinkled, his jaw tight as he avoided Emily's gaze. The past weeks had stripped away his swag, arrested for attempted cybercrime after trying to hack GameHub's servers. His bail hearing splashed across news feeds, his face a symbol of tech's unchecked hubris. Emily, however, was no longer the shadow in his narrative. She was the architect of a reckoning, not just for herself, but for every woman of color sidelined, exploited, or erased in America's corporate machine. The trial began with a hush as Judge Evelyn Chen, a no-nonsense veteran with a reputation for cutting through legal posturing, took her seat. Her glasses perched low, she scanned the room before calling the case. Susan rose, her voice steady as she laid out the charges: domestic abuse, financial fraud, workplace discrimination, and now cybercrime. Mr. Whitaker didn't just betray his wife, Susan began, her words slicing through the room. He exploited her identity as a black woman to secure millions in diversity grants, then discarded her contributions while perpetuating a culture of racial bias at GameHub. She projected documents on the courtroom screen, loan applications bearing Emily's forged signature, emails where Ryan mocked diversity quotas to colleagues, and a chilling text to his mistress Lauren, marrying black open doors. "But I'm done playing woke." Gasps rippled through the gallery. A reporter's pen froze mid-stroke. Ryan's lawyer, a silver-haired attorney named Greg Larson, objected, claiming character assassination. But Judge Chen overruled. "The evidence speaks for itself, Mr. Larson. Proceed." Emily's testimony was the day's centerpiece. She stood, her voice clear, recounting the arc of their marriage from the hopeful days in Brooklyn to the slap at the product launch. "Ryan used my heritage to win trust from investors," she said, eyes locked on the jury, a diverse panel reflecting the city's mosaic. "He positioned himself as an ally, but behind closed doors, he called my background a liability, my questions paranoid, my presence a prop." She detailed the financial manipulation, how he diverted funds meant for minority-led initiatives into personal accounts, buying luxury goods while gaslighting her into silence. "When I challenged him, he hit me. Not just my body, but my spirit, telling me I'd be nothing without him." Her words landed like stones, heavy and unyielding. Susan followed with exhibits: photos of Emily's bruised cheek, time-stamped security footage, and affidavits from Maria and other ex-employees describing Ryan's pattern of sidelining minorities. The courtroom felt electric, the weight of systemic issues, race, power, betrayal palpable in the air. Ryan's defense was a desperate scramble. Larson painted him as a visionary under stress, claiming Emily misinterpreted his actions due to cultural misunderstandings. The dog whistle racism drew murmurs from the gallery, and Judge Chun's eyebrow arched sharply. Ryan took the stand, his voice wavering as he spun a tale of victimhood. "I loved Emily. I gave her a platform, brought her into a world she couldn't access alone." He paused for effect, eyes glistening. "But success changed Hirsch, became greedy, weaponizing race to ruin me." The performance fell flat. Jurors shifted uncomfortably, some visibly skeptical. Susan's cross-examination was surgical. "Mr. Whitaker, did you or did you not use Ms. Johnson's name on grant applications without her consent?" Ryan stammered, caught by metadata proving his fraud. "And did you tell colleagues diversity was just optics?" A leaked email flashed on screen, his own words condemning him. By the time Susan sat, Ryan's credibility was in tatters. Outside, the trial became a cultural flashpoint. Protests swelled around Silicon Valley, led by tech activists and civil rights groups, their signs bold: "Stop exploiting black excellence," and "Tech owes us reparations." Social media churned with debates, some defending Ryan as a product of a divisive era, others amplifying Emily's story as a call to dismantle white privilege in the industry. A viral thread by a black tech founder dissected how diversity Initiatives often enrich white gatekeepers, citing GameHub as a case study. Emily's TEDx talk resurfaced, trending globally, with comments from women worldwide sharing parallel experiences. My white boss took credit for my code. My husband used my family's money, then left. Emily, cautious of fame, declined most interviews, but agreed to a podcast with a Black feminist collective, where she spoke candidly. This isn't about one man. It's about a system that rewards exploitation while punishing those who dare reclaim their worth. Tina Ramirez's involvement shifted the case's scope. After their park meeting, she provided a treasure trove of evidence: voice memos of Ryan coaching her to lie about his marriage, bank transfers showing he used her tuition payments as leverage, and texts where he boasted about playing the diversity card with both her and Emily. Tina, emboldened by Emily's courage, testified in a closed session, her voice trembling but resolute. "He made me feel I owed him my life," she said, tears falling. "But I see now he was buying my silence." Susan integrated her evidence seamlessly, adding charges of coercion and financial exploitation. The prosecution also called Sarah Thompson, who flew in from Seattle. Her testimony, a mirror to Tina's. Ryan had used her family's wealth to fund early pitches, then discarded her when Emily's inheritance offered better optics. He called "Me Too" vanilla for his brand, Sarah said, her voice steady despite the pain. Then he pivoted to Emily for the diversity narrative. "It's a pattern." The courtroom buzzed. Reporters tweeted furiously, framing Ryan as a serial manipulator preying on women's trust across racial lines. The cybercrime charge sealed Ryan's fate. Susan presented logs from GameHub servers, showing his failed hack attempt IP addresses traced to a burner laptop in his apartment. The coder he'd hired, a nervous 20-something named Ethan, turned state's witness, admitting Ryan paid him $10,000 to erase financial records. He said it was to protect his legacy. Ethan testified, avoiding Ryan's glare. The jury deliberated for just 3 hours. Judge Chen read the verdict with gravitas. Guilty on all counts: domestic abuse, fraud, workplace discrimination, and cybercrime. Sentencing would follow, but the immediate ruling stripped Ryan of all GameHub shares and access to joint assets, transferring them to Emily. The house, the company, the legacy, all hers, legally cemented to her name, as they always should have. Ryan's head dropped, his lawyer silent. The gallery erupted in restrained cheers, activists embracing outside as cameras flashed. Post-verdict, Emily walked into a media frenzy. Reporters shouted questions. "How does it feel to win? Are you targeting tech's white patriarchy?" She paused, her voice measured. "This isn't about winning. It's about truth. Women like me, like Tina, like Sarah, deserve to be seen, not used." The quote headlined Evening News, sparking panels on MSNBC and NPR, dissecting allyship exploitation. Ryan, out on bail pending sentencing, tried one last gambit, a podcast interview with a sympathetic host, claiming the trial was a woke witch hunt. It backfired spectacularly. Listeners called out his lies, and sponsors dropped him. Meanwhile, Emily restructured GameHub, appointing Maria as CTO and launching a mentorship program for underrepresented coders. She partnered with HBCUs, funding scholarships in her father's name, turning pain into purpose. "This company was built on my vision too," she told a board meeting, her presence commanding. "We're rewriting its story." The final twist came unexpectedly. A week after the verdict, Emily received a call from a whistleblower at a major VC firm that had funded GameHub. "There's more," the woman said anonymously. "Ryan was pitching a new startup, using your name again, claiming you'd reconcile." She forwarded documents, proposals to investors, falsely listing Emily as a co-founder to secure minority-focused grants. Susan filed an injunction, freezing Ryan's new venture before it began. Emily, now a reluctant public figure, spoke at a women's tech summit in Oakland. Her keynote, a rallying cry. If you're in a system that uses your identity against you, document everything. Build your case. Find your allies. The law is slow, but it's ours. The audience, diverse, tearful, empowered, gave a standing ovation. That evening, alone in her Palo Alto home, Emily sat on the balcony, the city lights twinkling below. Aunt Clara had sent a care package, collard greens, cornbread, and a note saying, "You're your father's daughter, but bigger." Emily sipped tea, reflecting on the girl who once believed love could bridge divides, now a woman who knew bridges burn when built on lies. She opened her notebook, penning a final entry. The best fight isn't loud, it's legal, strategic, undeniable. I'm not just free, I'm whole. Outside protests had quieted, but the movement she sparked grew, workshops, lawsuits, new voices rising. Emily didn't seek the spotlight, but it found her, a beacon for those still breaking. Chains in a world slow to change.